Hey everybody, welcome to a Tuesday video. I'm trying to think what would be the best thing to cover, especially as on streams I'm working through a lot of Act 7.2. By the way, if you do want to catch any of those streams, they're indeed available on the Purple brand, so go and check them out. Should be live streaming some more Act 7.2 today as we push through for the 100%. But one thing I wanted to do is just talk about some of the champions that I've been recently using in a kind of a monthly thing. I did do this for a little while but stopped doing it, which is just like my MVPs of the month, top 10 MVPs of the month. Champions that for whatever content have been useful, and I kind of felt I'll put this out in the future between say the first and second week, depending on like, you know, saying, okay, well this champion was good for this content or this champion was good for this content. That may be under the monthly scheme of things. So the 10 champions that I've picked do cover the various bits of content that I've been doing, which include Alliance Quest, also the monthly event quest, so there's things that interact with the Cavalier nodes, which, you know, I do really enjoy, and Act 7.2, which does have very specific types of interactions, but also these champions have been of use, and some of them, hey, let's face it, they are the go-to options for various different champion interactions, and as well suppressing things like buffs, putting on debuffs, those kind of things. Let's kick things off. We're talking about Cosmic Ghost Rider. He is one of the champions I've been using, not a huge amount, but still a lot in things like Alliance Quest. I kind of find it's nice at times, and there's certain types of interactions he's very good for, especially today. Today's got the node which is Turn the Tide, which means that a lot of the times that you will be like, oh right, okay, I've got to build up to this bar of power to do this special attack, otherwise it's going to do nothing. Cosmic Ghost Rider is really good for that, because if you're doing a combo and an ending with light, if you're kind of like building up the, like for me, medium light, and kind of getting a power gain, means that I can quickly get to the special attack, which is the one that it says do special attack 1, special attack 2, special attack 3. It just means that the process of getting there is a little bit more quicker using that champion. And there are other options. It doesn't mean it's just about one champion in particular, but I just like a quick rotation and firing off, especially if it's a case of going like, okay, I can do an SP2 and then quickly do a second SP2 straight after if I've timed really well, then that's great. I've also used Cosmic Ghost Rider in other content, especially with Act 7.2. Energy Adoption, or I think it's energy adaption, I think it is, something like that. That's been in Act 7.2, so that's been handy, and that's been a great way to kind of like get through that, and I'm sure that will come into effect and be very good down the line. So yeah, Cosmic Ghost Rider has been really good, has some immunities to him, especially in the bleed immune, so it means that I can be quite diverse in what I'm doing in Alliance Quest, and it's kind of one of the reasons that I decided to bring him in with that. It just gives me more time to play with him, where I've not really had much opportunity to play him in any kind of great volume, unless we're kind of talking about Arena. The next champion that breaks my top 10 is another champion I've been using a lot. My rank 3 6-star version is being used in map 6 when it comes to Alliance Quest, and as well with various other bits of content. In particular, if you've indeed seen the video that I put out last week, which was about this interaction here, which just melts. So if you use the pre-fights with Mr. Fantastic in Act 7.2.3, you're able to, with the Petrify as well as what's going on with throwing multiple SP2s, and as I said, the pre-fights, interacting with Supercharge and Vigor, you literally suppress the power gaining and also reversing that regeneration back. It's definitely been a champion I've been like rotating in my roster, a champion that even though like before maybe I didn't consider, and I should have considered, but at the same time, it's nice to have him with Dr. Doom, and that's like a beautiful two-parter. And this was pretty fun with an interaction yesterday on stream when we did Act 7.2.2, as I'm pushing the 100% for this, that we've got Rust and Ruin and Mystic Wrath, which basically means with Rust and Ruin, it's all about putting armor breaks on, which with the synergies together with Doom and with Mr. Fantastic, you're able to get that lovely little armor break. And as well with Mystic Wrath means that I'm doubling up the damage when it comes, well, not doubling up, but I'm kind of like extending my damage when it comes to Dr. Doom. So it's a great combination to have. And as well with any Fantastic 4 base champions, but I like my Mr. Fantastic for the pre-fights, the cross-fights, and as well putting all those lovely debuffs on and smacking a load of damage on rotation by just doing the heavy attack. It's also been great to put him into things like Alliance Quest, especially when you get up to Hyperion fights, Mordo fights, as well as any other fights that require a champion to suppress things like power gaining, and as well things like regeneration, and just be like super handy for various different bits. So yeah, definitely in my top 10 for the month. Now, Human Torch is definitely amongst one of those champions that I do enjoy using, and as well is amazing against champions that regen, against champions that evade, but more so for the first part, and as well mystics. Like taking down and slapping mystics is probably one of the best. Those debuff bits of damage as well as Nova Flame with the pre-fight, man, you just like, it's just great damage all the time. Keep Heart, man, it just slaps with damage. Especially if you're looking for a potential option to take down Tigra. I personally opt for Archangel. I just find the rotations are a lot more easier, but with Heavy Assault and a lot of those kind of like positive nodes, it's great. It's absolutely amazing. And there's a lot of things. Zac 7.2. Not just that though, there's just a plethora of content, especially from a monthly basis. If you're using something for the Cavalier difficulty on a monthly, then yeah, like I don't need to kind of explain the value of this champion. And now we get into the Cavalier lane clearing territory. So a lot of the times I use certain champions to rotate through. If you see my Cavalier cheat sheet, then you'll know my favorite champions for interaction, and that's got to be with the skill side of things, and it's Falcon and Black Widow Deadly Origin. So they do make up the next two. The reason these two are done as a double trouble is they work perfectly for skillful distraction. With one having shock, and that is basically off of just basic hits. That's from having Black Widow Deadly Origin. And then you've got the Falcon lock on. It means that you can deal with Mixed Master. Essentially, let's just say like you are suppressing the evade, and that's that in a nutshell. Which means it's quicker to build up Mind's Eye, which means that you're going to be building up your attack rating and your damage output. But it's great because they go hand in hand. Black Widow Deadly Origin outputs some amazing damage, and that SP2 is so tasty, especially with the energy damage you're going to be putting back. But they do work, as I said, together in a little synergy, which is the one just here, which is when the opponent starts a dash back attack or is recovering from a heavy special or combo, Widow's Insight kicks in for 0.85 seconds, ending a combo with Widow's Insight active grants a cruelty buff, increasing cruelty damage rating by 450 for 12 seconds. So that is what I'm kind of saying. It's just like there's a great kind of inner working there, and I think I used this one round through with doing Act 6.3.6, so that final boss fight with Captain America. It's great if you're looking for an option that's not just Ghost. If you don't have Ghost, then at least you can put a lot of damage in with those crits from Falcon with the synergy in play. Now that's something of an option. It's up to you whether or not you want to do that. But I love these two. I've been using Falcon a lot for stuff in Act 7.2, especially dealing with Thing, because there's lots of champions that interwork that you can like suppress, stop rock stacks with Thing, and as well deal with situations of evade, because that's another thing as well. Dealing with evades, Falcon for me is a no-brainer. I'm so glad Cavan buffed the champion, and I'm so glad as well that it's a solid option. And again, it's just like if you're looking for something that does debuffs very quickly and also a great rate of energy damage, then look no further than Black Widow Deadly Origin, because she is an absolute machine. Definitely a champion that I kind of put on the fence and then kind of went like, do you know what? I actually really enjoy this champion and I want to use her a lot more. In this little section, I want to call old favourites. Old favourites. Okay, so I'm using a lot of my old favourites in the rotation, which I think are just like natural, just ones that are just there because they're good, they're god tiers and whatnot. And like this month has been all about using Doctor Doom as normal, and then Colossus, Archangel and Magneto. Situations are just perfect in Act 7.2. The more that I'm going through it, the more that certain champions are kind of like shouting out at me, going like, okay, these are good, these are fun as well. We've had some good interactions and as well put out some really cool videos, especially about Colossus interactions with a certain node, which is that one right there. Colossus builds armor quicker and is insane for 7.2.1, which is adoption of energy. I think that's the incinerate one. So that's been like a really fun option to kind of consider for that, and has been doing some amazing damage because you build armor, you do damage, blah blah blah. It works kind of like really nicely. As I said, I would have liked the Mega Red, but you know, I don't have it. There's also going to be loads of champions from these bosses that are either hashtag metal, which again is great interaction, especially because, you know, Guardians hashtag metal, so that's a great one to interact with Magneto. And Magneto also builds quick buffs, which has been great for so many bits of content. Archangel's literally been slaying most of these bosses. Mole Man it took down from 7.2.1, and as well with Tigra of 7.2.2. His uses just have endless bounds, you know, monthly content, smashed out, you know, Shang-Chi fight Even did a little bit when it came to Mr. Negative, but it wasn't a solid option to use. But I just thought, I think I had that because it's seeing red for the path leading up, so that's definitely like one there. But there's just so many kind of fun interactions. And Doctor Doom is Doctor Doom, you know, a great option for clearing a lot of paths, Mystic Wrath, you name it, it's there. Quick rotations of suppressing things like power gaining. Yeah, just endless stuff that's just fantastic for these solid 4. I know that I'm going to have a good time if I've got these solid 4 in my roster or in my team that I'm using, and then maybe there's just like one other there for whatever reason. But some of these nodes, especially for 7.2, and as well, you know, monthly content, the normal Mystic nodes for Cavalier, definitely like solid option to take on that. Now, one of my favorite MVPs of the month that I'm using just so much at the moment is Crossbones. So since Contest of Realms was released, I definitely had an amazing need for this champion, mainly with the signature ability. It's definitely something that I've kind of pushed the button on to put him to 200 signature, especially because I had him at 140 and it was only a 70% chance to purify a debuff, and that for me was a problem. It wasn't consistent enough and I needed something that was close to 100%. So 200 signature into 90% is something I consider a solid option. I love the interaction, especially with a lot of this month's content, but I think that it's with Act 7.2, he is holding his own. A lot of the times you're going to see Disorient, you're going to see stuff with weakness, you may see bleeding effects, poison effects, not effects, so debuffs, because he shrugs debuffs. Lots of different types of debuff effects that are going to be like, oh, this is frustrating, but at the same time, I'm like, I don't want to go with the traditional options to suppress them or kind of go like, okay, well, I'll just play around them. I want something that shrugs them off. So yeah, shrugging off the debuffs is very, very important. I did a video about this as well. I don't know if anybody went out to see that, but it's like, it's really cool with the interaction, especially here with the ability to kind of, as soon as you've done the special attack, is that you will get yourself an armor break debuff, and as well heal block. So it's annoying, but at the same time you can shrug them off, so that's great. That's why I absolutely love Crossbones for this content and various others. Like, there's always a need for me to put them in, like shrugging off disorientate, anything that's a debuff, man, it just, as soon as it's on and it's restricted by the node for you to bring in a certain champion, you're like, hey, I'll bring in Crossbones because he works well against hashtag heroes as well, which again, extra bonus, and it's absolutely amazing. So yeah, I really rate Crossbones. I've used him in some of the monthly content. I would say this month hasn't been the kind of ideal options, but still, if there's been times where there's been something of a debuff on you, shrugging it off is kind of like a really cool thing. So yeah, definitely going to find a use for him. A lot of Act 7.2 grinding that I'm doing, and as well in some of the monthly content moving on. So yeah, happy days. Love this champion. We have it. There has been my MVPs for the month of May. Who will be used in June? Who was your MVPs? Put it in the comment section down below. It'll be interesting to find out what people are using for what specific types of bits of content. And I'll see you all in the next video. Make sure to check out some other content located up there, whatever that will be. Probably some news or information or stuff. And I'll see you later on for the live stream. Bye-bye.